In accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL 30A, section 20, relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency, the April 21st, 2021 public meeting of the Master Plan Implementation Committee shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation. However, to view this meeting in progress, please go to facebook.com/LakeCAM. You do not need a Facebook account to view this meeting. This meeting will be recorded and available to be viewed at a later date at LakeCAM.tv. Is anybody recording this meeting? LakeCAM. All right. So we'll jump into the agenda. We have 7 items tonight. We're going to start with approving the meeting minutes for March 17th.
Rod, do we want to sign in?
Oh, I'm sorry. Right. My apology. You are absolutely correct. Got to take roll call.
Roll call.
My apologies. I'm getting used to the Zoom thing. All right. So Rodney Dixon, present. Rita Garbett.
Here.
Joseph Chamberlain.
Present.
Jack Lynch.
Here.
Patrick Marshall.
Present.
James Rogers.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Now we can go to the agenda. Thank you. All right, so approve the meeting minutes for March 17th. I do have one request. Under discuss LakeCAM's request to change MPIC meetings to the 3rd Wednesday of the month. I had asked that we change LakeCAM, LACAM''S to LakeCAM's request.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Just had one other change. I noticed that under approval of the February minutes, I was listed as making the motion to approve, which I wasn't at the last meeting to make that motion.
So how do we correct, can we correct that? It would be the question.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes.
Okay, thank you.
The February 10th minutes, Patrick?
I wasn't at the March meeting.
Okay, Jim Rogers made the motion and Jack seconded. So I'll fix that.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments regarding the meeting minutes? Okay. Shall we vote to approve the meeting minutes? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
All right, thank you. All in favor, aye. Rodney Dixon, aye.
Rita, aye. Garbett, aye.
Jim Rogers, aye.
Jack, aye.
Thank you.
Patrick Marshall abstaining.
Thank you.
And Joe, you were before Jack?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So we'll move forward to item number 3, review the annual town meeting warrant article number 10 regarding the Development Opportunities District, or the DOD. So the purpose of this is obviously to review it, but see how it correlates to the master plan as presently constituted. So I don't want to bore you with reading unless you would like me to read the article. I'm happy to do that. Do you all have a copy of the article that was sent out by Rita earlier?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Have you had the opportunity to read the article, Article 10 in particular?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So really the purpose of this is this was instigated a while ago. That we were contacted by a member of the planning board with regards to developing a memorandum at some point, and then subsequent to the contact, we were asked to disregard the memo right now, because I did say we'd like to do a deep dive. We've done a pretty good job at reviewing the information. However, we didn't need to create a memorandum. So the purpose of this is to review it, see how it meshes, if you were, with the master plan, have any discussion, and then take it from there. Because if Rita, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has not been voted on, correct? I know that's for the town meeting, but
Right.
are there other committees involved? And if so, have they expressed support or not?
Well, because it's a zoning article,
Yeah,
the planning board will be asked for their vote. Are they in support or not?
okay,
And I believe they have to hold a hearing on it because it's zoning. And I think I did see that it was posted. So they'll have to get up to say how they voted, whether or not they were in support of it or not in
Okay.
support of it.
I appreciate it. So I open the floor about discussion. We've all had the opportunity to look and to kind of digest it. What kind of questions do we have? What should we tell the citizens? How does it align or not align with the master plan? Features and benefits. We talked about this before in the past. I just want to make sure that that we touch on this, and then if there are any questions, I would hope that if there are Lakeville residents out there on Facebook, that they would send in their questions so we can answer them in right now. So yes, go ahead.
The finance committee also will be asked for their recommendation for approval or not approval. That's our bylaw, our general bylaw. So,
Okay.
but they don't have to hold a hearing.
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So, anybody have any comments about the DOD to keep it? Because I know that we've had discussions about keeping it, the benefits of keeping it, the benefits of eliminating it, or the potential benefits, of modifying the DOD.
I did, Jim Rogers, I did mention the last time that we had talked briefly that I thought it was overly broad. And,
Right.
I didn't think it applied to the entire town as an overlay. And should be just applied on the appropriate size and location rather than the town itself.
Right.
And it also is somewhat vague as it gives you some guidelines as size and other things, but it doesn't necessarily give you any guidance as to, what really is supposed to happen and how this is supposed to be applied. It's just my opinion.
I think your opinion is shared with many people. So I know that there's a group, obviously, with the article, it was by petition, to get it on to the annual town meeting. Let me just see if we can pull this up for a second. So the article, for all intents and purposes, just says that, will the town of Lakeville consider removing the Development Opportunities District bylaw from the town of Lakeville zoning bylaws? So obviously the article is, in essence, to remove it, because, they go on to define what it is and why they feel, the petitioners, why they feel that it's not worthy of keeping.
No, I've always said, that I don't think if it can be modified to be applicable to certain areas of town, that's one thing. But in general, I would say I would be in favor of just removing it completely.
I would add, if I can, Mr. Chairman, I would agree with Jim on that. This is Patrick Marshall. I think I know we talked at the February meeting about this with the planning board, and at the time, I think it does take away a lot of the power of the town and kind of goes against a lot of what we've done with the master plan as far as planning for the town's future. So I think I would be, my own personal opinion would be I'd be in support of that as well, of removing it as well. And certainly, as Jim said, I think we could go back and look, or the planning board can, or whoever needs to go back and look at various areas if changes need to be made or whatnot. But
Okay, thank you. And I know that we had mentioned just some off the top of our head at last meeting, the ones that came to mind. And you're right, and I agree, as a, as a resident of Lakeville, I'm looking at potentially losing control. It's in line also with the meeting that we had with the select. Well, I'm not sure how many attended. I know Rita attended the recent selectmen's meeting with Senator Rodericks and Representative Oral, and there was some discussion. The reason why we were there was it was related to the economic development, and one of the points of discussion was high density housing within a half a mile of the MBTA station in Lakeville. So my comment at the time was something to the effect that, we've been working hard on this. The citizens of Lakeville have spoken many times, and the high density housing just doesn't align with the master plan. Now, when we say high density housing, to be clear, talking about rental units, not home ownership. So just to be clear that there is a delineation, that it's been very, very clear that this is what the citizens of Lakeville have, prefer, to keep the rural character. If we're going to grow, we're going to manage our growth. I know in the past that we've had conversations about, growing the percentage of businesses to residential to get to the 80-20 split, so we can have a split tax rate in town. That would help everybody, the resident, the homeowners in particular. We've also spoke about 40B, 40R. Can we meet the 10% stock in order to avoid having a developer or an unfriendly developer come in if we don't meet the 10% threshold, to basically do what they would like to do. So I think if we take a look at that and how the DOD is in relation to that and to those other issues, and as those as a whole relate to the master plan, I would agree, Patrick, that and Jim, if the town, and again, this is going to go to vote. So, if the citizens of Lakeville agree, and they voted to rescind it, so be it. And if it doesn't pass, then, we have to look at how is that going to affect the master plan and the vision for Lakeville for the future. So I think, that said, I think I hear what you're saying. I think we're in agreement. I see some heads nodding.
I think, Rodney, just for the sake of saying, this is, I think, a bylaw that something that was passed in
Earlier.
2000.
So anybody else have observations about the DOD?
Yeah, comment here. Is this an all or nothing vote on this article, or is there room for modification of it, yet still keeping it?
Sorry about that. My computer just froze. What was the question?
The question was, is this an all or nothing vote one way or the other, or is there room for modification, keeping it, but with the changes?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it says in the first line, consider removing the Development Opportunities District bylaw from the Town of Lakeville zoning bylaws.
Okay, but from the floor, someone can make a motion to modify, correct?
I
Okay,
would defer to Rita to answer that question.
To amend is so far from remove, Joe. I don't think it's within the scope of the article,
okay,
in my opinion.
okay.
I think this was a 2007 bylaw that they put in. The world has changed with 40Bs and a whole bunch of other things. And, if it doesn't apply, they take it out and maybe rewrite something that does apply. But something that was built back in 2007 to cover the entire town with some limitations, I just feel we ought to start over again rather than to try and Mickey Mouse with it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. I mean, Jim, and what I understand in previous previous conversations, this kind of came about from some property over near Joe's Gas, across the street from Joe's Gas.
Mhm.
So you're right. It's changed. We're 14 years now into the future. We've
Actually,
changed. The laws have changed.
It
Go
was
ahead.
actually passed in 2012.
2012,
2012.
okay.
Okay. So yeah, almost a decade ago. So
I mean, I'm obviously a new member of the town and a new member of the board here. And just my thought would be similar to what Mr. Rogers is saying, that if we could modify it to limit certain areas would be fine. But I think to make it a blanket proposal for the whole town would be inappropriate.
So I guess procedurally, if I understand the process correctly, that the way the article is written, it is probably not subject to an amendment from the floor because as written, and if it is voted to remove it from the bylaw, then theoretically, if someone would like to petition an amended version or a new version that is not that's not covering the entire town of Lakeville, they could also do that. Or they could go back to and propose an identical bylaw and try to get it passed. So, procedurally, if it gets overturned, voted to be overturned, then yeah, we'll deal with it at that point. We're a month away from the less than a month away from the meeting. So.
And Rodney, if I could just say too, town council will be there. I have found over the years on some petition articles, even if it passes, town council will say it's not binding.
Okay.
That's happened once or twice. I think this one's worded okay, but I'm not an attorney, so even if it does pass, town council will say whether or not it's binding.
Okay. So if it is not binding, procedural, if it's not binding, then we would have to, when I say we, the petitioners would have to re-petition, and I would suggest then if it's not binding, so we could take the pulse of the town, so to speak. So, see how it goes. If it is voted to overturn, but it's not binding, then I would suggest that the petitioners seek counsel and get guidance on the verbiage. I don't mean necessarily town council, but somebody who is an attorney who knows how to word the petition so it would be binding, I think would be advantageous.
But if it does pass, I think, like you said, the pulse of the people, the planning board, Board of Selectmen could also move forward with a warrant article.
Yeah. So yeah, the will of the people. And I think that's, that's what we've heard for a long time. Obviously the master plan is people have verbalized their will and how they would like to see the town in the future. And so if this passes, then I think that's a good, that's a good thing for those that want to, overturn it. And then, again, we just got to look at the master plan. And either way, whether it passes or it's not binding, we have to make sure as this committee goes to revisit that, the sections of the master plan that relate to it and see how it'll affect, if any, the master plan is currently written. May have to change your matrix. So, any other discussions about Article 10? Okay, I appreciate that very much. All right, so the next agenda item is to review and vote on the updated master plan implementation matrix. So if everyone has the matrix, kudos go to Rita for just taking a very, very long time to create this. And we know it's a lot of work, and I really appreciate it. I know that's a tremendous amount of work, so thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Looks good, Rita. Good job.
Yeah, Joe, I couldn't reply to you, but thanks to all of you for thanking me for doing it. I
You're
know it
welcome.
by heart now.
You're welcome.
So I think, when we had our first meeting after quite a while, and I know I was talking to Jim Rogers, as we were writing down, these accomplishments. Anecdotally, we came, Jim had said it was roughly 10 accomplishments. And then as we started really putting them pen to paper, there's quite a few. And this is exactly what we envisioned when we started this process, where we have a plan, we put a ton of time into the plan. I think we did a great job. And now, the residents of Lakeville really need to see exactly what we've accomplished, because, for too long, there's been accomplishments that were not communicated. But now that, we know, they've now been documented. We're going to take a look at this, make tweaks if we need to, make suggestions, and then, obviously to vote on it and then get it into the hands of the appropriate people, the responsible parties, the lead party, and the other responsible parties. And I would also advocate that the master plan in particular, and the matrix, get into the hands of the incoming town administrator, and let the administrator advocate on on the responsible parties to advocate, keep them, and I guess in the business we call them, keep them honest, keep them on board, keep them on track. Let's keep the momentum going, because we don't want this. I don't want this just to be again a static document. People forget about it. So once we get this voted on, we can then we can get it posted to the Lakeville website under the master plan. We can get it into the hands of the administrator and hopefully the Board of Selectmen, and I selfishly, I would like this as a standing agenda item for the Board of Selectmen. I think it's extremely important, but I don't wield that power. It's just, that's an aspirational goal. I would like for the Board of Selectmen to have it as a standing agenda item, and I'd like the town administrator to be aware of it, and then keep people honest and keep them on point, and do what needs to get done. And before you know it, we're gonna be due for another revision. So we'll do this again. So I open the floor. Any comments, observations about the matrix first?
Well, could I just say, Rodney, for all the members, what I tried to do, I used red for anything that was done.
Right.
And one of the new things on the very first item, the A-frame, if you've all noticed, on Route 18 has been knocked down. It has been sold. Nate Darling they haven't pulled a building permit, so we don't know what's going to go there, but that was the third property on Route 18, so we should see something happening there. And what I tried to do is correlate the red where whatever column it was relevant to. And then I used the green, moving forward, things that we need to pursue. But even though some of these items say done, we still have to follow up on it. For instance, the Historical Commission did get funded for their preservation plan. The Open Space Committee, I did check with Serped. The members are all updating their section, but Serped will help with putting the plan together because they can use the maps from the master plan, the demographics. But I just, even though some of them say done, we shouldn't lose sight. Another one is the ADA grant for accessibility issues. The grant has been extended to June 30th. Hopefully we get the grant submitted, and then we can apply for funds to make the adjustments to the building. So there'll be more parts to it.
All right, thank you for that. Who's responsible for grant submission in the town?
Typically, the Board of Selectmen's office, the town administrator, although the fire department does, and the police department, they have safety grants, they apply for their own, but typically it's the Board of Selectmen's office.
All right, so I assume the Board of Selectmen are acutely aware of the ADA grant.
Oh, yes, this one definitely is going through the Board of Selectmen.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect, thank you.
Rodney,
Yes,
update on the A-frame. The folks that bought that have already initiated hearings before us on the Conservation Commission. It's a 2 or 3 story office building.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Awesome.
Get that back on the tax rolls.
Yep, yep.
Right, yeah. No, that's wonderful. Thank you. Very good. All right. So do we want to do a little bit more review of this? Did everyone have the opportunity to review it? Do they have any comments, suggestions, edits? Or should we move forward to vote on this and get it in the hands of the right people sooner rather than later?
That's what I would recommend. I've reviewed it. I think it was fine. I think Rita did a fabulous job. I'd move it, I'd get it into all the appropriate responsible people's hands.
I agree.
So let's vote on approving it. And then once approved, I'll forward it to the Board of Selectmen. And I think there's probably 10 boards and committees. And I'll make sure that it's put up on the town's website.
I would make a motion to approve the matrix as presented this evening.
I'd second.
Second,
All right, so all in favor? Aye. Rodney Dixon, aye.
Rita, aye. Rita Garbutt, aye.
Jack Lynch, aye.
Jim Rogers, aye.
Joe Chamberlain.
Marshall, aye.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
Patrick Marshall, aye.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I emailed Rita today. You know, it'd be nice if somehow the residents of the town could see all of the work that all the various committees and boards are doing on their behalf. I mean, when I went out and had to get my 60 signatures to get renominated, which I was unopposed, unbelievable, for the planning board, most of the people have no idea what's going on in the town. They have no idea what the planning board is, and they have no idea what in the world I'm doing at their front steps. And I just think that it's, I know that you can go onto the town website and see it there, but in all reality, folks, there is no way that's happening. There is no way that is happening. I mean, I think the only way that anybody knows what's happening is if they go to the town meeting, and that's 10% of the population go to the town meeting. It's unfortunate.
100 people.
Yeah.
100 people, all right, out of how many voters? 7,000 and some change, right?
Yeah.
So not 10%,
It's-
that's for sure.
And, I'm not lamenting the fact, all the work that all you guys have done this way longer than I've done. I mean, and all the other people that Mark Knox's and the people that spend God knows how many hours working on the town. I think it's unfortunate that the town doesn't understand and I don't think, in all due respect to the residents, some of them don't care or, don't know how to, whatever it may be. It's just too bad that they don't understand what's going on in the town and on their behalf. That's all. I mean, I don't want to beat that.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do, I can address very briefly, let's just get the vote. We've all voted unanimous, all opposed, there's none. So the motion passes unanimously, and we'll go ahead and move forward with Rita's suggestion. Let me circle back and back to you for a second. In one of the workshops, I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of the workshops. There was a young couple that were new to Lakeville, and the husband was an IT professional. Talked to him very briefly, and he offered his services to help propagate the information in a way that was just beyond me. It was above me. I mean, I get the general, understanding of technology and how we can distribute this information. But did we know who that gentleman was? Did we ever find out? Because I'd asked him, hey, please give your name, address, phone number, and everything you can. Did anybody ever get this gentleman's information so we could follow up with him?
Well, in each of the workshops, didn't it have the sign-in sheet?
It did. I just don't recall his name, and I'm embarrassed to say that, but I don't recall his name. So I would say we're on Facebook Live right now. I'm not sure how many people we're reaching through Facebook or in future video, people watching these the videos in the future. But I would say whoever that person was who attended that workshop, please come forward with. We really do need your expertise to help disseminate this information and leverage technology and whatever the social media platforms are. But also we have to take a look at communication. So if there's someone out there that is proficient in communication for folks that may not have a computer or may not have the opportunity to get this information electronically, to please, volunteer your services. And I've offered Jack multiple times to come out to the residents of your community and speak. I'm happy to do that. And I'm happy to do that to any community, whether it's the senior center or if it's, a community, a neighborhood, it's fine. I live over near the high school. We've had a few new people come in, and I just go up and, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. I'm Rodney Dixon. I'm pleased to meet you, and engage them in small talk about where they came from. Why did they move to Lakeville? And say, oh, and by the way, if you want to learn more about Lakeville, and then give them the 30-minute elevator pitch about the town, about the master plan, about our committee and what we do and how we do what we do, in hopes that it will strengthen their resolve to stay here, to raise their family here, and then advocate for the town and for the vision of the town. So that's.
And I agree. I mean, we had talked about this before, and I think I indicated back then, once, I think this summer when we're all vaccinated and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to, as a president of the Homeowners Association in my group of condos here, I'm planning on having, come over for drinks and a, meet and greet situation. And that would be a perfect opportunity for you. I would invite you to stop by and talk to this group of people who have about 15 condos here and do that. And I think that's because I think, and I would recommend that to some of the other presidents of the homeowners for the rest of these condos and these homes here. And we can do that. And I think that's the way to do it, because I think it's unfortunate that the residents don't understand what's being done, and therefore they and appreciate what's being done by all of these people like you guys that have been doing this for a heck of a lot longer than I have. That's for sure. So
yeah,
that's all.
So Rita, go ahead.
Well, I think of Jim and the community sign. Maybe
love that sign.
after town
Yeah,
meeting.
that was, you're muted, Jim, but that was awesome.
Go back to, maybe something like, have you looked at our master plan lately? Or maybe Jim can come up with something good and put the,
Yeah, you're right.
What's in your wallet?
yeah. 'Cause we just
Well,
went
the
with a
easiest
couple of
part,
weeks with
yeah, the
nothing
easiest
on the
part
sign.
the easiest part is to ask people, do you know what's happening in town?
I think it's a great slogan. Do you know what's happening? Can we fit that on the billboard? No, seriously, I think you got to be. You had it awesome. You hit it out of the park last time with that sign. That's awesome. But yeah, and again, I think when we're in the community, when we're meeting people, depending on your personality and if you're comfortable talking to people and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say you have to do it, but I'm just saying if you have the opportunity as you meet new people, whether they're in your neighborhood or you see somebody new that, at a store that you frequent, that that's typically frequented by locals. Yeah, just, introduce yourself and engage them in conversation. What I'd like to do at some point too, and I don't know if this is possible, I might just do it out of my own pocket, but is to print maybe like an executive summary or at least something succinct and to the point where, because some people are tangible, they're very tactile, they want something in their hand to read, like a newspaper or something like that. And I know it sounds a little archaic, but hey, and then have the conversation on here, by the way, what is a master plan? What are the components? What have we done? Where are we at? And kind of
How do we,
with
what about, with the Lakeville Middleborough paper? I mean, would those people would be agreeable to do an article and saying, this is what's the master plan for the town for 2021? I mean, was that something we could do? I mean, I would think, therefore, that would.
I don't know if it's newsworthy, but I think if we do something like that based on, I won't get into it, but let's just say, I think we would be better served if we wrote what we're trying to convey versus an interview or a story where it could be, maybe not inclusive of certain facts that are extremely important, because the sin of omission is it's just there. We don't want things to be omitted, but we certainly don't want things to be misunderstood. So I think if we are going to do something like that, is it newsworthy? Would there be interest in it? But I think we should come up as a group then with with maybe the summary or the storyline, or give a history of it. What is a master plan? How did it come to fruition? Well, it's the law. All 351 cities and towns have to have one. And give people a basic understanding of what it is. And then what does our committee do? And what have we done? And what have other boards and committees in the town have done? So, yes.
We do have an opportunity on mass mailings. I know the master plan doesn't have a budget, but the tax collector, with the permission of the Board of Selectmen, usually if it's a one-page, double-sided, 8.5 by 11 stuffer in with the real estate tax bill, it's too late to try to get anything into this next mailing. But towards the end of the year, if we could talk to the selectmen to see, to do the informational, what is the master plan, but then refer to the matrix on our website. But
so when we post it, just as a point of clarification, the matrix will be in the same area as the master plan, correct, on the website?
yes, isn't that what we want?
Absolutely, because when I asked quite a few months ago about the number of clicks or hits to the page prior to my suggestion to reorient the page and the information for the master plan, we had a grand total of 13 hits in 1 year from the time that we posted. When the changes were made that I suggested, in 1 week alone, we increased by 12, so almost 100%. So, you know, it's where it needs to be. Maybe it needs to be in even a higher profile place on the website. But the website, and speaking with the with Tracy, I understand there are certain components of the website that are what we call hard coded, cannot be modified in any way. So we're limited on as a town where we can put information. And so Tracy did what she could within the parameters that are set by the vendor who basically controls the website. So yeah, I mean, let's get it out there and let people know and tout it, and hopefully we can gain even more interest. I would love to see people stop any one of us on the street and say, hey, I saw you in this meeting. Can you talk about it, or can you explain it? Delusions of grandeur, I guess. I'm not sure how many people are actually out there watching this, but it's a lofty goal, but it's a goal nonetheless.
But I know on the town clerk's page is very good. And you can scroll down on the left, and whatever you want to look at, you click on it. So I don't know much about how the website works, but maybe there's something like that a catchy title to it.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure how many of you have gone on the website, but I would encourage you to go on the website and just as an end user, does it make sense to you, insofar as how you get to it? Is it user friendly? Is it easy to get to? Is it easy to understand? And that's why I made the suggestions I made when I made them, because I heard 13 and I'm like, that's really, really low. Even if someone is, I guess they call it in the business clickbait, where there's like an icon or something, you click it by mistake, you would even assume that there would be some mistakes out there that would be more than 13. So what I learned was when I went on it, I discovered quickly it wasn't user friendly. It wasn't easy to find. It wasn't intuitive. And I was told, well, it's under here and it's under the master. The part, there's too many layers. People don't want to filter through that. They want to go, boom. What do I, when people look at information, especially when they're looking to move or they want to know more about their town, that should be front and center. Who are we? Our history. What's our history, and what are we about? And then tout about our master plan and our future vision. These are things that are extremely important because people are leveraging technology more than ever, and especially when they're looking to move someplace. So if they know that we're doing all of this, and for the people that have been here for a long time, because we all know that the ones of us who have been here for the majority of our lives, we know how much Lakeville's changed. It's changed immensely. And
Marty, one of the things that, excuse me for interrupting, but one of the things that there's got to be a reason why people want to look at it. I can tell you, people look at the size of the master plan document and they're inundated with information. The matrix is a much better way to look at this.
Oh, absolutely.
You got that in a
Agreed.
situation
Yeah.
where you just simply say, hey, look,
Yeah.
you don't have to, all you can do is browse through and see what you think you like or what you don't like and maybe pick it up. But as far as the document itself is concerned, most people are not going to read it in the detail.
No.
They're not going to look at it. So
Yeah.
I think one of the things is, what do you really want to present? You want to present something that's alive, and that's where the matrix works.
Yeah.
And, Rita did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Somehow give them an opportunity, to say, okay, I can skim through this easily,
Right.
rather than trying to read that, excuse the expression, document. You're much better off in letting people know, look, there's some information out there. Just take a quick look. And
Yeah.
what do we want them to know? And we really don't want them to know the words on a page. We want to know the action.
Yeah,
Orientation.
I agree, and I think that's a great observation.
Great.
And it's kind of a bullet point, and I see what you're
Right.
saying, because we're headline driven. So that's a great observation. I like that. Yeah, get, have the matrix then front and center and have the document in the background. And yeah, I think that's a wonderful suggestion.
I
So,
mean, I agree. I think the matrix is the only way to go because I think the current demographics with younger families, both parents working big time jobs, finding out what's going on in the town of Lakeville has got to be way, way, way down in their priority list. I mean, between coming home, working, taking the kids to soccer and lacrosse and this and that, and the other thing, and getting up and going back in on the commuter rail, go back into Boston. It's got to be way down on the list. So, I think if anything, the matrix is the only way to go.
Yeah.
And even then, I think in all due respect, I'm not so sure you're going to get, very frankly, an awful lot of input. And it's too bad. I think it's too bad because it's important to know what's going on in the town because a lot of good things are going on in this town. And God knows there's an awful lot of people that are putting in a huge amount of work for the town. Simple as that.
so we have a Facebook comment from Martha Schroeder. Could you please provide identification of the photos in the master plan? There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yes, we can, and I would say, Rita, we don't have a list per se, but we can actually look at the photographs and then provide that information.
I thought
correct?
they were identified.
I think they were when they did the drone footage, but I'm not sure, and I don't have let me see. I can pull up the master plan. Stand by for 1 second, please.
Well, I can get it myself. Hold on.
Let me see if it's actually embedded within the document. So I know for sure when we did the drone, that there was information that was. So there's different items where it says figures and then baseball and soccer games. Let's take a quick peek.
I mean, there's an awful lot of maps here that,
So I'm looking at page 4. There's a beautiful photograph of a lake, but it's not identified. So I think that's what Martha is speaking about. If we go to page 4 on the master plan, it's a beautiful drone photograph, but it doesn't say which pond that's at. And then now the other ones with the people, those all are identified. Like this one where the water tower is. Yeah, so thank you very much, Martha. We appreciate that. So is there any way to
Wasn't it,
modify-
Rodney, wasn't it listed in the back? I don't have my copy with me, but wasn't it listed, the photos listed also in the back in the appendices?
All right, that's what I'm going to right now. I don't know.
hold on.
We're
Hold
gonna find, here we go. Let me see. All right, references.
Where the heck, I can't even find that.
Yeah, it's way down on index of figures. Index of maps.
Public comments. Comments. On the way back.
Okay. So Patrick, there's a thing called index of figures and then index of maps, but it talks about, town of Lakeville land use map, zoning map, so on and so forth and so
Nothing
on.
with the, okay.
So the question is, could we assign a reference number to them and then reference them in the back of the document? Actually, I'd like to have them right on them. It'd be easier, obviously, right on the photograph. Rita, is that something that could be considered, or is it this document?
See, I don't know if it's the final document, I don't know that our contract is up with Serped.
Right.
I don't know how we could go back.
We own the photographs, correct? If my memory serves.
Yes,
So at least we own the photographs, but what I hear you saying is we would not be able to modify the document to include the description
I don't
of
know.
the photograph. Maybe we could, not tonight, of course, but maybe in the future, speak with Seth and find out if we have a list of those photographs. And make reference to it. So thank you to Martha for bringing that to our attention. We appreciate it.
Rodney, one last comment. Keep my mouth shut for a while. I think we're missing also a large opportunity with the number of people that frequent the Ted Williams camp and the soccer fields and the rest of those things, of getting some information out to them. I'm not sure how to do it, whether it's sticky on their window or whatever the hell it is, that, if they're Lakeville residents, then, you get hundreds of people there, or thousands of people during the week. I mean,
I was there Saturday.
that's an opportunity.
Yeah,
I was there, I was there Saturday for my granddaughter's soccer game. And, it's an opportunity to hand out stuff to them. If that's the way we want to do. When I'm there, I go to the soccer and lacrosse and flag football and on and on and on. So it's an easy way to hand out stuff to them.
The transfer station too.
Yeah, that's,
absolutely.
Yes.
yeah. So do we have funds to print a brochure, a handout?
No.
Or
We'd have to ask the selectmen.
okay.
I think you gotta-
Like you said, that one page that,
Yeah, I think you got to do it one page, Rodney.
Okay.
You're not going to read a brochure.
Right.
I don't.
Absolutely.
Well,
I think
no, you know what I mean. I'm just throwing out terminology.
Yeah, I agree. I think your idea originally,
Fly
the one
folder,
page
fly folder.
document, the bullet thing, boom, boom, boom,
Right.
boom, boom. I think that's the way to do it. In this day and age, that's what the only thing they're gonna read. Give it to me, what is that, the crib notes, give it to me,
Right.
and that's it.
and I'm willing
Fine.
to pay to have something printed up if it's a reasonable, take it to Staples or
Staples or
someplace.
somebody like that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
Rodney,
am too. I'm obviously, I don't think reprinting would be that expensive, but I'm sure, I can pony up some money and get these things printed. But I think, maybe for next meeting, we can maybe discuss a summary or bullet points to hand out. It's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Rodney, if I may,
Yes, Patrick.
you have, there's a second comment on the Facebook. Somebody is asking where, obviously we just voted it tonight, but they're asking where's the matrix on the website. I'm assuming it will be placed on the website.
Well, if
Yeah,
they go to
website
the
or-
the original one is on the website. This is going to be the updated revised one of what's been
Right.
done.
yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it'll be-
wanted to answer the question that came through on the comments there.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you, Kerry, for that question. We appreciate it. Okay. All right, so if there's no further discussion, I'd like to move it along in the interest of time to new business. I have new business. We participated, Rita and I participated in the selectmen's meeting with Senator Rodericks and State Rep Oral. And there was the purpose of that meeting, we were invited to attend the meeting. It was a Board of Selectmen meeting to discuss the economic development. And so that was the context of the invitation. So we heard what the legislators said, and there was an offer made and I accepted it. It was, I would love to attend one of your MPIC meetings. And I said, sure. Would love for you to do that. And so I proposed to you, the team, are you amenable to having Senator Rodericks attend one of our meetings so we can discuss not only the master plan, but the master plan, the matrix? Because my observation is this: if the master plan, and it is mandated by law, and some of the comments that were made by the senator in reference to Governor Baker being data-driven, making decisions on data, which is fine. My comment was, something to the effect that we would love for you to come here because he doesn't know about the master plan per se, and to educate him on the master plan and on the matrix. What do you think as a team? Is that something that you would consider? Because, we don't get a whole lot of attendees to our meetings, and especially a sitting senator. I would love to have the opportunity. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I would think it's a good idea. And
Yeah.
also, if we advertise that he's going to be there, you might get some people in town want to hear what he's got to say.
Yeah.
You bet. Yep, because in how the information kind of flowed, and then the senator's offer to me was based on a comment that I made about high density housing within a half a mile of the MBTA station. And my comment at the time, and I'm not going to quote myself, but I'm going to say in words to the effect that high density housing, and this is what I said before, and I'll say it again, high density housing, not home ownership, but the renters, is not in line with the master plan.
I think it's going to overwhelm the town's facilities.
Well, I didn't put it in context as much, like to that level of detail, but my comment related to, listen, I've been on this committee for 14 years. I've been chairman for quite a while. The residents of Lakeville have repeatedly said, about housing, about growth, about character, meaning the rural character of Lakeville. How do we manage growth? And I think, so my comment to the senator was in direct relation to the proposal of high density housing within a half a mile of the MBTA station. And although I did not finish my comment, discretion is a better part of valor, is because we know that the MBTA station is moving from Lakeville to Middleborough. But a comment by Representative Oral said there would be a footprint, and I'm paraphrasing, the MBTA would still have a footprint at the current location in Lakeville. Now, I interpret that to mean that if there's a footprint, then by definition, there is an MBTA station. So then we would be subject to the high density housing within a half a mile.
Right.
And so I didn't want to expand on that. It was not my meeting. I came to the meeting as a representative of this committee, but now that we're in our meeting, that is the context of my comment. So there you go. Are we interested in having the senator? It sounds like it is. We can advertise it, invite the senator, and maybe even Representative Oral.
Right.
I think would be a good idea too, because obviously he's from Lakeville and he represents us. So I think that would be appropriate. So Rita, is this something that we need to take a vote on, or can we?
No.
Okay. So what is the process to get the invitation to the senator when we're ready to host?
It'd really just be an email from you, Rodney, to both.
Yeah. Yeah.
You could
Right,
get the
from you, Rodney.
email from Tracy
Okay.
and for Norm.
Okay.
They're probably busy with the budgets right now.
Yeah, I'm not intending to have them now, of course, but I want to get it on their agenda.
Maybe July or August.
Sure, and I would love to do that and have them attend. I would love for these meetings to be in person again. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm being cautiously optimistic, of course, but I don't know if we're going to return to in-person meetings, and if we do, what's it going to look like? But I would love that. I love the in-person meetings. I think we get a better feel for it.
The invite's going to come from you, Rodney, isn't it?
It will come from me. I will
Yeah, good.
instigate the email
Yeah.
and the invitation.
He sent me a letter congratulating on getting renominated.
Well, I don't want to mix politics, so I would leave that out.
Believe me, I have no
I'm a
interest
straight
in
business
politics.
person, so I would,
No
yeah,
interest in
as a
politics.
business person, just say, thank you for talking to me, the opportunity to talk to me, and I'll take you up on your offer.
Yep, yep.
One thing I've learned in my life is you don't get anything unless you ask for it. He made the offer, so I'm gonna take him up on it.
Exactly.
Because if Governor Baker is data driven, and this is a Massachusetts law that we're mandated by law to have a master plan, then I think it's important that the senators and the reps that are responsible for Lakeville are well informed, so they can pass that information to the governor. So, when the governor suggests high density housing may be a solution, well, it might be a solution for your hometown, but not for Lakeville. And and then put it in context. Why is it not a good fit for Lakeville? And then articulate it through the plan and through the comments that we've seen throughout the years. So that's my new business. Anybody else have any new business? All
I
right.
guess we could call it new business. Tracy sent us an invitation to warrant review. April 26th, the Board of Selectmen invites the petitioners, all the boards and committees. So I think it's at 6:30 on the 26th.
Okay.
And the petitioners for Article 10, I imagine they will attend, and we can listen to if the planning board recommends approval. And then town meeting is May 10th in the gymnasium at Aponequid.
Awesome.
So if anyone wants to attend that.
I will attend.
And it is in person.
Very good. All right. Is there any old business that we need to discuss? Okay, hearing none. Is there any other business that may properly come before the meeting? Okay, hearing none. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Patrick?
Anyone
Second,
second?
Rita Garbett.
Okay. All in favor, aye. Rodney Dixon, aye.
Rita Garbett,
Patrick
aye.
Marshall, aye.
Thank you.
Jack Lynch, aye.
Patrick,
Patrick, aye.
thank you.
Joseph Chamberlain,
Is
aye.
Jim still- is Jim Rogers on?
He's muted.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you, sir. All right, everyone. Thank you again for your time and all your hard work. We really appreciate it. Keep it up and we'll
Have a
talk.
good
soon.
night.
Thank you.